brings out the possibility of tourism here in Denver. And as we've pointed out, a race downtown like this is very difficult. This is right in the center of Denver, right in front of the state capitol building. It takes a great deal from a city and state administration to be able to pull something like this off. While they're thinking of moving it, I think all of us hope that they don't.
Well, I kind of wish they didn't do, Paul, but I think they're going to. Here's a guy right here, Emerson Fittipaldi, who is just as stubborn a race driver and a harder charger as I've ever seen. Now, he's trying very hard. We know his brakes are not really good, and he's trying very hard to get up on Little Al, and he's going to push him, trying to break him right now. That's his whole idea, is to push him so hard that he makes a mistake.
He has one road course win to his credit this year. That was in Detroit, a course a lot like that. This one, he's been second twice on similar courses, both times behind Michael Andretti.
Well, Al Unser Jr. runs in front with Fittipaldi there. In fact, Little Al just got around the 86 car of Jeff Andretti, putting a bit of a separation. This was just a few seconds ago as Rick Mears lost some braking as Cheever turned in alongside Lazier and took the left front wing assembly off of the car. Lazier was able to keep rolling down the track. Obviously, he's not injured, but some tight racing in that situation with Cheever and Rick Mears.
Cheever was looking at Mears and not at Lazier, an understandable error, but that turn once again has claimed another victim.
Other winners here at Denver in the Indy Lights: P.J. Jones, Herb Hare won in the Trans Am, and in the Escort World Challenge, Doc Bundy took the win. A special thanks to Fran Leonard, John Leonard, Jeff Dickerson, Greg Fielding, and Jeremy Shaw, who have helped us with the statistical information here in the booth throughout all of our ABC races this year. Now running right with the leaders, 12th place, Jeff Andretti. He's the one difference in an Andretti helmet. He has that big J on his helmet. He's an individualist.
Otherwise, we can't tell the difference.
Emerson Fittipaldi. There you see the distance between he and the first place car. Now with just 4 laps to go.
Emerson, Ayrton Senna, of course, won the Belgian Grand Prix today, extending his lead in the World Championship. We thought that today, if Bobby Rahal were to win this race, we'd have a similar situation with a man way out front. Not so. We now have a very, very tight battle for the kart championship.
With Bobby Rahal falling out, not scoring a point here today, it definitely closes the points fight up. Roger Penske keeping track of his driver, Fittipaldi, as well as Rick Mears.
Well, you can watch that poker face on Roger Penske. He just looks like he's emotionless. He doesn't have any emotions at all. It's all business with Roger. His racing is probably the most serious of all the businesses that he's involved in.
Al Unser Jr. won here last year. On his way to victory now in the closing laps of this race. What has been a hard-fought battle for most of the competitors has, in fact, for Little Al, been a fairly smooth run.
Well, it has been a smooth run, except that Michael getting that free lap back, Emmo all of a sudden getting a new breath of fresh air and pushing as hard as he can. I don't think he's ready for that, Paul.
Well, taking a look at these statistics, Al Unser Jr. certainly is a master on the streets, and Michael Andretti does very well as well.
What Al is able to do that so far Michael has not been able to do is run these races without making contact with anybody at all. Look at his car. It's completely clean. He has a real knack for taking chances when they pay off the most and not getting involved when they are not going to pay off.
An update on Little Al. Here's Jack Arute.
Paul, you're talking about what an effortless run it's been for Al Unser Jr. Probably the closest call came on that aborted start. He reported back to Rick Gallis and the crew that he literally got drop-kicked on the start, but it didn't seem to cause any problems throughout the day.
Well, it certainly didn't, Jack, and you can see by the marks on his car, but we saw that almost ended up being a big crash into that first turn to the people that didn't see it. It almost ended up being just like a junkyard of Indy cars down there because the track was blocked for a while.
Don't forget that throughout the season, there has been an ongoing pit stop competition. Not only will today's pit stops help determine the eventual winner of the event, but they'll also help to determine the final outcome of this year's $135,000 Texaco Haviland pit stop competition. And assuming that in the next 2 laps no one makes a stop, which is certainly not likely, Rick Mears will have scored 102 points and picked up $46,000 for the team. Al Unser Jr.'s team in second with 57 points and $33,000. And Michael Andretti's team with 56 points will pick up $24,500. That's the Texaco Haviland pit stop contest, which is final as the checkered flag comes out. Al Unser Jr. driving, picking up a point for driving the most and leading the most laps here in this race, and looking for 20 points as the winner.
Sometimes you can see the driver's emotions mirrored in the way his wife looks in the timing stand. And as we looked at Shelley Unser a moment ago, she was actually laughing. I think circumstances like this have become so familiar in that family. You think of the big lead, very similar situation that we had earlier this year at Long Beach. I think there's a lot of feeling that once little Al gets out ahead, he is able to do what it takes to stay ahead. Even so, you see how close behind him right now Emerson Fittipaldi is.
Emerson Fittipaldi comes around Matsushita. By the way, that's the pronunciation that now Hiro himself has asked all the announcers to use. We know it's not the same pronunciation that the family uses or he uses in Japan, but it's what he wants. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Quick update on Emerson Fittipaldi, Paul. The brake temperatures from the telemetry that they have in the pits here indicate that those temperatures continue to rise in the late stages. Emerson has been doing a remarkable job, they feel, stalking little Al as he has in these final laps, but the temperatures keep going up, and that means the effectiveness of those brakes has to keep going away.
And we got a good example of that as Emerson smoked the tires, even as you were talking, Gary.
It just shows, Paul, that no matter what, if Emo had to try to pass little Al right now, he'd have to do it under braking, and he just doesn't have enough rear brakes to do it. He can keep up with little Al, but he can't seem to do it with the braking.
Which means, of course, that he would have a very hard time overtaking him. Tactically, he's in a very weak position.
White flag has been given to little Al. Fittipaldi trying to close in. He's closed down considerably in the last 2 laps. He was back 2.9 seconds behind. Now he is just 2 seconds last time they came across the line. And Fittipaldi is most definitely closing in.
He never quits. He's just like a bulldog. He's about one of the hardest chargers that we have in racing today. The hardest chargers, and he just won't quit. He won't quit until he goes across the finish line, wherever he is.
And one of the finest gentlemen in the sport, hoping to open an IndyCar circuit down in his home country of Brazil in the next couple of years.
You know, physically, Paul, he's probably in the best shape of any of the drivers here. He works out almost every day.
Emerson Fittipaldi chases Al Unser Jr. to the final turn of this track, but the checkered flag will be waiting for little Al as Fittipaldi slides it off the final corner, and here comes Al Unser Jr. with back-to-back wins in Denver. Al Unser Jr. has taken the win. It means that we will leave here with Bobby Rahal still leading the points with 141, but Michael Andretti with a third place finish has closed up to 132 points. Just 9 back from Al Unser Jr., who now has 129 points. So that's the top of the order. Al Unser Jr. takes the win. The race has run just a little bit long. We're not going to be able to... No.
Races. Mario Andretti at Elkhart Lake, Gordon Johncock at Atlanta, Teo Fabi at Pocono, Tom Sneva at Indianapolis and Milwaukee, Al Unser at Cleveland, Bobby Rahal at Riverside, and John Paul Jr. at Michigan. Rahal is the most recent winner on the road course at Riverside, and he broke the track record here this weekend and will be starting from the pole position in today's Escort Radar Warning 200 from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course near Lexington, Ohio.